Two-time Olivier Award winner Katie Brayben has made the jump from the West End to Broadway. Her powerful vocals breathe life into new music penned by Sir Elton John for the musical Tammy Faye. Katie, Elton has written music for you. What is that like?
It's hard to put into words what that feels like. I've always been a huge fan of Elton John's music. It's surreal, but also magical.
Katie, Tammy Faye was an icon. You know, many people here in the States knew who she was. Just talk a little bit about your Tammy Faye and diving into the world of this woman known for her lashes and her fabulous makeup.
People at Stage Door talk about how much she meant to them. And it's really interesting doing the show here, obviously, because in the UK, didn't know much about them. I suppose my process with her is understanding sort of where she was coming from and her love of people, her absolute expression of joy, pain, whatever she's feeling in the moment is so clear with Tammy. She just is who she is in that moment. The makeup and the hair and the outfits, and that's absolutely part of who she was, but it isn't everything.
Don't shine a light on me. Don't shine a light on me.
The show also stars Tony Award winners Michael Cerveris, who plays the controversial religious leader Jerry Falwell, and Christian Borle, who is Tammy's husband, televangelist Jim Bakker.
Jim is a complicated guy. One of the easiest things to latch onto with him is what is truest about him is his love for Tammy Faye. So when they meet, I think initially there's a purity to what their mission is, which is to spread this message of love. And then eventually just power corrupts. Jim makes some really bad decisions. I mostly remember the scandal, and I have a picture burned in my brain of Jim Bakker weeping, which is now a Broadway moment.
Kids at home will have pictures of your I also grew up being very aware of Jerry Falwell. I mean, I never met him, I don't know him personally, but I know what he represented and I know what he did and I know what he said. And all of those things are representative of the worst aspects of organized religion. But everybody does have an other side, and he is a principled person and stands in opposition to a lot of what Jim and Tammy are doing.
Tammy Faye helped her husband build a Christian TV empire in the 60s and 70s. Later, she stood by him through accusations of infidelity, and after that, his conviction for misusing ministry funds. Perhaps one of the more defining moments in her life came in the 80s, when she interviewed a pastor living with AIDS on her Christian TV show.
How sad that we as Christians, who are to be the salt of the earth, and we who are supposed to be able to love everyone, are afraid so badly of an AIDS patient that we will not go up and put our arm around them.
I think it was really brave of her at the time. I think it was especially brave of Steve Peters to go on that program in the way that he did and be so eloquent and so wonderful in that interview. And I feel like Tammy did give a platform and a voice to people at the time who didn't have a voice, certainly not within the conservative Christian arena.
At the press preview, Jay Bakker was in the room, Tammy Faye's son. He seemed very moved by this piece. He said that you guys really have captured the spirit of his mother.
She was able to understand love in a way that some theologians and philosophers never got. Thank you for sharing that with me.
It was kind of remarkable to hear him say, I lived it. I mean, I lived it. And I think that can only be an incredibly cathartic experience to watch.
Talking to him and hearing what he said to the rest of the company, it made it so very real. We're not just telling some random people's stories, we're telling the stories of people who really lived, whose relatives are here.
What's it like being in the room with Elton, getting notes from Elton?
His love of this is so obvious.
The time period of the show is also corresponds with sort of my favorite Elton John eras as well, like those 70s, 80s. And so those sounds are in this score. Getting to listen to Katie, she has a song towards the end of the show, If You Came to See Me Cry, and I haven't told you this, but like I would say every third show backstage, I'm just like floods of tears again, listening to you sing this song.
If you came to see me cry, you might as well go home tonight.
The musical not only celebrates the life of Tammy Faye, but also the rebirth of the landmark Palace Theater. The Palace has reopened after 6 years and a more than $2.5 billion renovation to the facilities, including a new hotel above.
Imagine a dusty jewel polished again and seeing it glitter.
We not only maintained the integrity of the theater and its charm from 1913, but the guts of the theater have been modernized. We brought this all into the 21st century.
The Palace Theater is one of the greatest landmarks on Broadway. And playing the Palace many, many moons ago and even today is somewhat of an anomaly.
Christian, this is like your old stomping ground. You're back.
It's like coming home. It's so funny. So I did Legally Blonde here, and the whole run. And I used start this show standing stage left in the wings in the exact spot where I used to come up and watch, oh my God, you guys, the opening of Legally Blonde. So, and it's 17 years later. Oh.
I can't really believe that my Broadway debut is at this theatre. Well, I was pregnant when I was doing Tammy Fay's first time in London. So to have him here, you know, and it's just, yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Is there something you want people to walk away with after they see this show?
When we think more about, you know, love and faith and what that leads you to do for beyond yourself, I think that's more about what this is about.
Legacy of love is what I keep thinking, because it's something that Jay Baker said, and I think that's true. I think we could all do with a little bit more love at the moment.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.